Traps. Can't live with them, can't die without them. Am I right? Anyway, I've spent the last few weeks designing more traps for the game, and I've got some good ones coming. I think you'll like them. I hope. I'm designing traps that will be used in conjunction with level design to create some challenging areas for the game, where the player's actions and decisions need to be accurate and skillful so as to avoid these gnarly traps or even use these traps in their favor. I've also added a secondary version for each trap that is poisonous, double danger. This poisonous version won't be as abundant as the normal version, but will be far more dangerous and will have lasting effects on the player. The poison is set to a timer on the player and will damage health while active. It also restricts the player's view quite severely. I might also add movement restrictions to it in the future. This is something that I'm strongly considering. I aim to have poisonous enemies as well in the future, so this system will be built on a lot more. These poisonous versions are a variety of each and every trap in the game, so you will have loads of close calls with these. You can spot them by checking for green growths on the traps themselves. Mold, maybe, I guess? So I get that traps can be annoying, and I agree. A poorly placed trap can ruin a game run, especially one that you have to pass by in a popular area and you get so used to its poor design and poor placement that you start to remember not to trigger it. That isn't fun or good design. What I'm saying is poor design and bad trap placement can almost ruin a game. But on the other hand, good placement and good design can yield quite the opposite experience. Having to maneuver around traps and dodge them can add a lot in the game if it's done well. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Well, traps need to be challenging, yet not annoying. Abundant, yet not oversaturated. It's a balancing act to achieve it, but with some QA and feedback, I think it can be done. Patience is a must. As of now, I haven't worked on enemy design or AI yet, but in the future, traps will even be useful as a weapon. Get an enemy to follow you and lead them to their snappy doom. These sorts of things can add a lot of fun and thought to a game. As discussed in the previous devlogs, traps are triggered by stepping on a stone that triggers the trap's animation and script. And I have added one or two more of these style traps. However, I have now also added other style traps that are self-activated. Let me explain. I've got some classic and some not so classic trap designs coming up. Let's get into it. First up, we have the classic spinning and moving side to side traps. I have designed two varieties of these with different length blades and different area of effect, as well as differing damage ranges. These can be quite easy to avoid and get around, but can also be very dangerous if not considered carefully. Of course, the larger one reaches further and does more damage, so be careful of that one specifically. These will fill areas like hallways and doorways and will be relatively abundant. This trap is very visible, however, and makes a noise, so it's quite easy to avoid. Then, a classic of old, the snappy wall hinges thingy trap. This one has quite a small area of operation, but can do loads of damage. This is also a very quick trap once triggered and can be quite hard to avoid. This trap is quite popular in games and can be seen in many AAA games, for example Skyrim or many other such RPGs. This trap is quite easy to survey and can be avoided if not triggered relatively easily. This trap can be re-triggered, so be careful not to make the same mistake twice. Then, moving on, we have the classic bear trap, which I call a snap trap. This is a classic in games and even in general horror pop culture. This one goes back as far as the 90s in terms of game design. This is by far the most basic trap in the game, but also somehow the most relevant. This trap will sometimes blend in very well with the terrain and might be hard to spot at times. This one will do quite a bit of damage and can easily kill you at low health. I'm considering doing a body system in the future where you'll have to mind your limbs as you play the game, sort of like in Fallout. So, for example, a bear trap might break your leg, which will affect bleeding and movement speed. And in this way, all your limbs would be able to be affected, but this is just something I'm thinking about for now. Next up, we have finally the swing trap. This is also one that can be seen in Skyrim and other RPGs or horror games, and is also a very well-known trap. It works by swinging a massive log from the roof into you and will knock you back and cause lots of damage on impact. It can be dodged, but not easily. This trap is quite easy to spot and avoid, and can be used to kill enemies if you lead them to its trigger. So that's it for the new traps. I have added a good selection and variety of traps that all offer something different and unique. The idea is, of course, to not let the game feel boring and repetitive, so good trap design is vital to that end. For now, I'm done working on traps, but that doesn't mean I won't add more in the future, because I still might, but for now I need to move on to other aspects of design. Some ideas I have for future traps are things like Iron Maidens, gas traps, trapdoors, and swinging blade trap. These will be worked on at a later date though, if I do decide to actually make them. If you are interested in checking out the traps for yourself in a little demo, keep your ear to the ground and your eyes peeled. I'm working on a little example tech demo that you all will be able to test and play with quite soon. More on that in a few weeks. That's about it for the video. Thanks for watching. This one was a lot shorter than some of the previous ones, but not all topics will be the same amount of content. Follow along for more if this project interests you, and get involved in the comments or send me an email if you have any thoughts or suggestions. I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you all for the positive responses on the Devlog series. I hope you liked this one as well. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep dodging.